What are you talking about?
Somebody give us a thumbs up.
Heidi, Heidi, Hody. Let's do this right this time. Get the juicy camera microphone.
Juicy. Is it working?
Get it over to Lele.
Well, there we go.
I think it'll work, but I can't hear it, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey, Leslie.
Hi, Benjamin.
How are you today?
Doing well.
What's on your mind?
I'm just enjoying a nice Sunday.
It was rainy for a while, and now it's really nice.
Mm-hmm. It was a really pretty day.
Hot.
It feels like a gift when it's been. You start to get a sense that it's going to be rainy again, and then you get a little bit more summer.
Yeah, we went to church today, and it was down in Seattle, and everybody was out walking.
Everybody was out.
And all the Asians had masks on.
Not all of them.
All the female Asians.
Really?
Pretty sure.
I didn't even notice masks. You mentioned it.
Really?
Yeah, you mentioned it. And I said, what's up with that? But I've heard that they're talking about some new bugs that are going to get popular and trendy. So people are going to start wanting to wear their masks again.
On the ride home over a bridge, you know, they have walking bridges with like anti-suicide prevention technology called a fence. Mm-hmm. And somebody had strung up on tape on the fence, the new plandemic, bird flu every time, or 189 or whatever. So.
Okay, so that's the new one.
Yeah. Are you scared?
I don't know. I'm not scared. I'm not scared necessarily of viruses as much as I'm scared of what kind of
response.
Yeah, like how is this being orchestrated in order to create more control? But I mean, I'm sure if you really wanted to do it properly and get everybody scared, you'd make a virus that's really bad. So maybe, I don't know. I'm not really scared.
Yeah,
I'm watching for it.
Yeah. I don't know if they're going to do it this close to the election. I think people are so fed up with it right now.
You think so?
I generally think that people are pretty darn fed up with that.
Even the people who went along with COVID?
I think they went too far. What do you think? I think they went too far. So I'm getting a new job and I have to do some paperwork, because it's through the state. And so there was this vaccine, rules. And I didn't know what I was clicking, and then I'm like, wait, hold on. And I went back and I looked at it and they said strongly urge. We strongly urge you. So I'm like, okay, well, they probably
can handle
know.
Strongly urge.
Yeah, I can handle strongly urge. Like, what are you going to do? And then if you're a vector of infection, we decide that you are, then you need to take time off. I'm like, well, that's kind of reasonable. I can take time off, but I'm not going to put your drugs into my body.
Yeah. That's good. That sounds reasonable. Yeah.
I wanted to do a self-serving episode. This is our 18th Deepend. We did 7 episodes, which was covering the Evergreen State College videos.
Do those count as Deepend?
I don't think they count as Deepend, so I didn't number them as Deepend. They're the Evergreen State College Meltdown Watch Party or something like that. They're variously named.
We can do it again in a couple of years.
I don't know, maybe.
I'd like to watch it again for a second time at some point in the future. To see what stands out new.
It would be cool to have extra guests on to talk about that. Let's just make sure that the audio is really fine. Cool. If anybody has any issues with the audio, please let me know in chat. In chat.
Where is the chat?
Oh, I know it went over
there it
away,
is. It's over there to the right.
To the right. What? Okay, Boom. It's right here. Boom. Okay, I'm gonna make it a little thicker.
Thick chat.
So we can look. Yeah. So I was thinking, I wanted to do this last time, but we had something to talk about. And to be honest, chat and future watchers, my brain is really blank. We spent the whole weekend talking. We had a lot of couple time. We spent
we did
5 or 6 hours last night and the night before.
We were going to watch a movie last night and we never got to it. Yeah, we just sat on the couch and just had a chat. It was really nice.
We spoke a lot about the different growths.
You have a mole or something?
Yeah, a relational mole. It's getting hairy. You plucked the hairs.
Ew.
Oh, no. But, we've been married for a while. I was interviewed.
Almost a year?
Yeah, almost a year. Come October 27th. We met in person on April 22nd, I believe, of 2023.
Yeah.
And it's just been a crazy time. I mean, I married you and 2 kids, so I'm a stepdad now. And that's been an amazing growth.
That's a growth?
Yeah, that's a growth and a half, man. That's 2 growths in a lump.
Wait, am I a lump?
I don't know. Well, I do call you my lovely lump when you're lumping out on a cozy couch, but yeah. So.
Yeah. Yep.
I was thinking, and somebody interviewed me and brought up like, what is it to be a stepdad? And we had
Yeah.
talking about that. And I'm like, I'm not really ready to talk about, but I had some things to say about it. Have you ever been a stepmom?
No, I
No.
never have. I was divorced when my daughters were 4 and 6. I got divorced from their dad.
Yeah.
And I dated someone for about 2 years who had 4 kids.
Yeah.
And
4. Wow.
yeah, he had a big family. He was a really dynamic person.
It's like a
Really
RFK
involved.
kind of guy, right? He's super fit and old.
Kind of a little bit like that. Like, he was a lot older than me, and he was really
He's on
really
testosterone
successful.
replacement therapy.
I don't know. I mean, he was he was an athlete,
high-powered man.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
And he had 4 kids, and we spent a lot of time with each other's kids, and I got to know his kids very well, and I kind of started to navigate some of those weird relationships, step-ish kind of relationships, but we never moved into the marriage stage.
Was that rocky at all, or was there not enough? Like, you were kind of just the visitor nanny kind of person. You never became like a principal point person.
It wasn't particularly rocky.
Did you have any authority? I guess.
Yeah, but I didn't really step into a lot of it. It was kind of like sometimes I would be the one in charge, and they needed to listen to me, and I never had any problem with taking care of young kids. I actually worked as a preschool teacher when I was, before I had my daughters, and I felt pretty comfortable with gentle authority over young people.
Yeah.
So I didn't have a problem, asking them to take care of responsibilities or correcting them. But one of them was a teenager. I think she was 11 when we met, and so she would have been 13, 11 to 13 while we were together. And so that was an interesting relationship to sort of navigate, trying to not threaten her relationship with her mom, not to try to be a competition in that kind of way, but also not be too much of a friend, but be a friend, kind of figuring out that relationship with a young adolescent.
Yeah. And girl.
Yeah. And then I had some difficulty with his youngest daughter. She and I just didn't get along as well. She was kind of, this is a long time ago now, really long time ago. She'd be in her mid-20s now. I guess she'd be like 27 now. So I thought she was difficult for me. Like, she was the baby, and she kind of got away with murder. And then when she was right in between my daughter's ages, so at the time they were like 4, 5, and 6 when we started dating.
Yeah.
And so she wanted to make her own rules for everything.
Yeah.
She didn't want to do what I said. And so but it was kind of like, just being with a person who has kids means you're not just with one personality, you're with as many personalities as are in the family.
Yeah. And those personalities compound because there's those different relationships to the different people. And then there's the other parent that's not around, and like what kind of influence you're having on that. The
trying to
original
navigate
marriage,
that
and
too.
You don't know what you're in. It's spicy stuff, right?
Yeah, it is pretty spicy.
Did you see something?
I'm just looking to see. Yeah. Cute. Paper anniversary, is that right?
Is it Paper's first year?
Maybe.
Okay, I'll get you something. I'll get you a board game.
Oh.
It's made out of
I
cardboard.
should get you a board game. Yeah.
But so there was this really weird occurrence that happened when we hooked up. Hooked up. Is that the right thing?
Hooked up sounds like casual sex.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's not what we did.
I'm not a part of hookup culture. I don't want to know if you are or not. But at this point, we're pretty serious.
Don't you think I'm not?
In our sexuality is anything but casual. It's very formal. That's
great.
Got to dress up, ties, and ball gowns, and chandeliers. It gets pretty wild. Well, that tape will be leaked at some point.
No, it will not.
Okay,
it
no,
will
it
never
won't
be made.
No. But we met each other and very rapidly made very drastic decisions.
Yeah,
like
we did.
we were engaged within, I think, probably 4 weeks or 3 weeks, and then we moved in within 6 weeks or 2 months.
Yeah, we really jumped in with both feet.
Yeah, the whole thing, full throttle jumping in, and there was this really weird occurrence where this kind of fan of mine kind of went totally nuts.
Yeah.
And made like about 300 or 200 or 150 videos.
A lot of videos.
About
She would
me.
put them up and then delete them.
Yeah.
And they were really intense.
They're really intense.
How did you find those?
Somebody. Well,
Did somebody send them to you?
So on YouTube, when you have your own YouTube creator account, you can go to comments, and then there's a little tab that says mentions, and you can see if other
I guess
channels
I've
have
never
clipped
looked
your
at that.
content or mentions. It never really pops up, and
I should
YouTube's
check
pretty
that
bad
out.
with notifications, to be perfectly honest. But she tagged me. I went over there, and she was just like doing some really weird things.
Oh yeah.
She's making these really big accusations. She was tying together dots that she had no right to do, and then she was demanding that like I was lying or whatever. And she made this whole like headcanon about how I'm a monkey branching
You were-
pervert or something
Yeah,
like
you
that.
had an affair and
Yeah, an
it
affair,
was-
and you're
yeah,
like you're this
that I was a homewrecker.
homewrecker, and
Yeah.
you know, and then she went into like you having children,
Oh
and
yeah,
went into
and
you
I was
like
a terrible mom,
you know, and you're
yeah,
like
it was kind of
anti
hard.
woke grifter. She was really mean to you. She said some hilarious things. She's like, that Leslie Elliott's despicable, and I don't mean
She
to be
said
mean.
I was a terrible person.
Yeah, she's a terrible person.
Yeah.
Love you all. You know,
Yeah.
and then she left, and you know, I didn't know what to do with that, so I downloaded as many videos as I could. You know, there's some really good ones and stuff, and I was thinking about putting them together, but you're just like,
I don't know.
just
And
let
I like
him
to give it
let
a lot
go.
of attention. That was what at the time we both kind of. It was like don't give it any more attention.
Yeah, don't give it
you know?
any more gas. But she brought up a lot of things, and it was none of anybody's business going on.
Well, that's kind of interesting because it taps into both our personal story, but also the story of parasocial relationships.
Yeah,
And what you enter when you start posting stuff online.
we're like Ben Les. It's like J-Lo, but we're Ben
I think we're
Les.
lesbian.
Lesbian.
Sounds kind of like a lesbian.
I know you
Because they move in together really
Yeah,
quick.
they move in really. That's fair. That's fair. Yeah. Wait, which one's the butch? Okay, good. I just want to know. I don't know how femme. I actually, you're very femme. You're a lipstick lesbian. Yeah, but I don't know. I thought it was interesting. We had a lot of conversations about like what is a relationship, why we decided the way we decided, and what it felt like to meet each other, which was just a very profound experience for me. I don't know if that was something that you wanted to talk about, but I thought it would be really interesting because it laid the groundwork for making these really big decisions and then just meeting each other at a certain time of life, 48, with all this
We were
history.
46.
Okay.
And then we turned 47.
Yeah.
And we just turned 48.
You're very clingy to the age. Yeah.
Well, no, I just want to be accurate.
Yeah, no, okay, so we met when we were 46, which is like
Yeah.
over halfway to 92. Right?
I guess so.
And so like there's all these patterns of relationship and expectation, and you know, like we come out of previous relationships where there's different communication styles for one, and then different expectations, and then different negotiations that have like kind of come up like over the course of like your previous relationship, my previous relationship. There's just certain things you don't do. Like one of the things that was weird for you, I guess, was like I brought a TV into the house. You just didn't have a
Yeah,
TV.
I hadn't had a TV
you know?
in ages.
And we kind of like negotiated that, and like, you know,
There it is.
yeah, there it is right there, you know, and you know, and then I was like kind of really big into video games, and I haven't really played them because it just doesn't feel right to do that, you know. It's just like, well, you know, so I got into like another.
Ooh, that's one of those things that floated around Twitter this week.
What?
The video game thing, like that it's one of the most
Oh.
unattractive habits for men or
Yeah,
hobbies for men.
yeah. Well, actually, it's just above bird watching.
No, bird watching was way higher. It was one of the higher ones.
No, it was like
No, there was
most,
a whole graph and like
I know,
bird,
but it's most unattractive hobbies, and it was like
Oh.
video games were up here, and
bird watching was
it was
the
in the
most
top 5.
attractive of
No,
the
no,
Yeah, it was.
I
We
don't
should
know.
go find that.
Well, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure I was like, wow, 50% of women think bird watching is pretty attractive.
Okay, well, 50% don't
But it was
think it's unattractive.
But the video games, it was like, boom, like 92% of women hate this or something. It was very, yeah.
Yeah, people made a lot of hay about that.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't mean to digress.
No. Well, I mean, I don't know what you want to talk. I mean, this is really personal. We've also
Yeah.
negotiated what we even talk about in public.
Yeah, I've kind of tended to be a little more, try to be a little more private about myself. But I don't know. That's not to say that there's not room to discuss certain things.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So you're not taking the bait.
Was that a prompt? What was
I don't know.
supposed to-
I did you want to talk about that?
Sure. What do you want to say?
Well, what did you?
What's
what did?
the topic that
Well,
jumps
no.
out?
Like, why did you? agree to marry me. What was that like for you? And then how did you know?
Well,
Because there's different types of falling in love. Like
yeah.
this is the third major relationship in my life, and I've had like crushes and stuff like that, and they've all been really particular and different.
Yeah.
And I've been in different ages and stages in development and stuff. And this was a very profound experience for me, very profound and yet very like oddly chill. Like it was very chill and it was just very absolute. It's like this is, God told me kind of thing. Like I had a spiritual experience the year before we met. I went to Catholic church and like I felt something profound about the direction of my life having to do with family and an intimate relationship, and how that's a part of like how I need to worship God is to be in a full intimate relationship with a woman. And it was very stark that I had that, and it really was upsetting to me. It like kind of broke my heart a little bit because I was in a relationship that component wasn't there. And it just like it pushed me, and I had to go through certain rearrangements. And then when I met you, like I had these certain feelings we can get into or not, but then we ended up going to a church because we were out on a vacation that we just like decided like you're gonna just like take this strange man to ocean front property, get an Airbnb little thing and see what works, what doesn't work. We went to church, and I had that same feeling, and you guys were with me. It's like, okay, I had that feeling, and you guys weren't there, and then I had the feeling again, and you guys were there, and it was this. I just had these different kind of signs is not the right word. There's a better word, like indications, that this is the right thing to do. This is like very fated for me.
Yeah, I had gotten divorced the year before, and then you and I met, and we did a recording together.
Yeah, right in the middle.
We did a recording in November, and then we kept in touch. We did like 3 more, I think, conversations.
I came on your show. You and Jody came on my show.
Yeah, and I came on with Aaron and Jennifer Friend one time.
Okay, yeah.
And we kept on having these conversations and these emails. And sometimes you'd message me on Twitter or I comment, and we just have we just had this really light friendship that developed. And then when you were coming up through Snohomish, I was living in Snohomish.
Yeah.
You were driving up north from Olympia, and we met for dinner.
Yeah.
And it was just like, why not? We're going to meet for dinner.
I want to tell you about God.
And for me, it was, I had tried dating. I had done like what are the dating apps? The stupid dating apps. It's weird. It's such a mixed bag. Like you'll meet people that you're like, this is a really lovely person, and they're not for me. And this feels awkward, and it's so hard to find a connection. But you can appreciate lots of people. And so I'd met a handful of people that there wasn't a click, wasn't there. And I just thought, I don't know, my kids are young. I want to be in a marriage. I don't want to raise them as a single mother. I don't think that's best for them. I wanted to be in a marriage. But it had to be right.
Wait, what does that mean to you? What did marriage mean to you?
Stability, family, or proper orientation around love and proper modeling for children. I think it's the way, that it's healthier for kids. The healthiest thing is for kids to grow up with an unbroken family with their mother and their father. And I think that that's really, really important. I think people give up on marriage too easily.
Yeah.
I think I gave up on my first marriage too easily. And then my second, I hung in too long. And I was so dedicated to the idea of having that family stability for my kids that I allowed myself to be in a situation that was really bad for a really long time. And because I put that in front of everything else. But, and it's funny, one of my good friends and I both got divorced about the same time in 2022. Is that right? Time frame?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we talked a lot about it. She had older kids. Her youngest was like 16, I think, when she got divorced. For me, the boys were younger. I have grown daughters, but my boys were younger. And we talked about the idea of dating. And for her, it was like, nope, I'm not doing that. I'm not putting my my child through that. She had one kid at home, teenager. I'm not putting her through that. When she's grown and out of the house, I'll do that. That's when I'll open myself back up for romantic connection and want a companion. And for me, it was like, there's a window here. My kids are still young enough. If I meet the right person who can be a good father figure for them, then they can really benefit from developing a relationship while they're still young. But there's a small window here. And when they're teenagers, that might be too late. I didn't know, but that was the sense that I had.
That's
that it might,
just a sense you had.
Yeah, and so I felt like I owed it to myself and my kids for me to be open. But I had just kind of blawed out on it. It was discouraging. And so I was kind of like, I don't think I'm going to really mess around with that anymore. I think I'd gone on one more date. I briefly did this for like 4 months. I opened up to say, I'll give it a try. And I'd gone on one date not that long before you and I met for dinner. And then when you and I met for dinner, we just had such a great time. We just talked the entire time. It was so...
We joked a lot.
We joked a lot. Yeah.
That when I look back at our first interview, we gave each other our life story, just like very naturally. We started with a couple of jokes, and then like you just talked to me and I talked to you in a way where it was a very balanced conversation. It wasn't as much an interview as some of my other interviews. Like you were really open to me, and I was open to being open to you, which I'm usually not. I'm pretty, not that I'm guarded, but I usually give the other person.
That's interesting.
I kind of try to absent myself from the interview, but our interview has a little bit extra quickness to it, and I felt that in our first conversation. Like we just like really synced up.
Yeah.
And it was just really nice.
Easy.
It was very
really
easy
to hang out with you, and it just felt like
a glove.
I was gonna say
an old shoe,
like family. Like it just felt really comfortable to be with you.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that was kind of. And I told my friends a couple days later. I have a group of good friends that I homeschool with. We all have this homeschool group. We meet every week at least once with our kids, and we moms stand around and talk about all the things. We momsplain to each other. I don't know what that means. We just talk, and the kids run around and do all kinds of wild, half supervised things.
Yeah,
play. And so I was telling them about this, and they knew they're up on my whole saga, whole saga of me, and.
It's not an unexciting saga, I'll tell you that much.
I said I was done dating. I'm like, I'm done. I just spent this evening with this guy, and he's just a friend. I don't think there's nothing going to happen there, but I'm just done because I'm not going to go on another date until it feels like that.
Yeah, there was this, we hung out, and then, I just wanted to talk to you because you talked about a very personal spiritual experience that you had, and that really
in our conversation with Jody,
a very profound kind of download, I guess is what you call it, and it just reminded me of my own spiritual practice, and like this woman might benefit from Subut, so I thought that would be a good thing, and I guess like I'm trying to remember, but it was just I'd done Ramadan. Right before Ramadan, I went on a retreat with some work I was doing for that organization. And then after Ramadan, I went up to Bellingham to work with a Subud group up there. And so I had just done Ramadan, which is the month of fasting. And I just do that because I've been doing it. That's a whole other conversation. It's always been very beneficial for me. Even though it's kind of hard, and usually I have to get something out, and I usually get some sort of gift or indication. And so I was really quiet. I was really quiet at the end of Ramadan because I really fasted. I'm never perfect with that, but I went up there, and then I thought we were gonna meet on Saturday or Sunday. I'm like, let you know, and I just got really anxious. Like I want to go. Like I want to go. I want to go, and.
From the thing you were at.
Yeah, from the thing I was at. It was like everybody was really open to, and everybody really wanted to talk to me. Like there was some work that I needed to do, and so I ended up absorbing all these people because they really wanted to share themselves with me. And I'm like, okay, I did that to everyone. Like I gave everyone a chance to, get attention, because people really need attention. And that was just my job at that time. And I'm like, I just got to go. I'm full. So I zipped down to you. I remember like going, down the back way of 9, I think it was, Highway 9.
The way we went today.
Yeah.
That pretty long road to Snohomish.
Is that 9?
That's 9.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, but 9, but north from Ballard or wherever. Not Ballard, but Mount Vernon.
Okay.
It's coming from Bellingham, Skagit Valley.
Okay.
Down 9. Anyway, so it doesn't really matter, but I was really anxious to see you. And I don't know if I wanted anything, but to be honest, like, you were very attractive to me, and like I kind of got in trouble a little bit because I was editing the video with you and Jody, and I kept on being really distracted by you. Like the video kept on playing, I kept on like ogling you, like just like staring at you, So there wasn't no attraction there.
You got
and,
in trouble.
Well, no, I got in trouble because I think I told you, you're like you're really pretty or something.
Yeah, you did.
I think
and I was like, why are you coming on me?
yeah, I'm like, I can't. I'm really sorry to say this. I don't mean anything personal, but you're just very beautiful, or something like that. I try to be really not coy, but courteous, but honest, because like I just needed to tell you that for some reason. So there was that. I know there was a little bit of like, and you never know. You're like, well, there's a little bit of hope. So I was in a place where I'd been seeking.
Yeah.
I've been seeking connection.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get into it, but I was in a really long, deep relationship that it had gone on, and it was just like there wasn't connection. Like we really had gone parallel lives, like in really deep ways. And I was really, really lonely. And so I see like when people used to call me flirty with my, my feminist
that
content.
was my impression of
you. Yeah,
you.
you thought
I
that
thought
too.
you were...
I think there was a part of me that was really kind of looking for a quickened relationship with the female, and so in a way I do think that some of my content was a little, I don't know, a bit marred or not, but it was tinged with that seeking.
Interesting.
And so I know that was a
It's
part
interesting
of
for you
that
to see that.
when I met you. But when I remember meeting you, and like I was really stunned, like, oh crap, she's really pretty. Like I thought she was really pretty on camera, but like I saw your hair and the light, and I'm like, oh no. But I took a deep breath because I'm used to pretty women. I'm like, okay, you'll forget all about it in about 5 minutes. Like once the conversation happens, either you like her or you don't, or else you have a good time. But the prettiness is just like looking at a flower. It's like there's no real content in that other than it's just attractive. It's really nice to look at. So I sat down. We just started having a conversation, and we talked for a really long time. We went inside. We got a thing, and then like it was kind of over, and I didn't want it to be over. So I'm like, well, can I walk you home? But like I didn't want to like impinge upon you or anything like that. We walked down. I met your boys, and
yeah, and that was funny because I never would have brought a date home to meet my kids. That would have never happened. Like I was really partitioned about that, but you didn't feel like a date.
But
it wasn't a date.
It wasn't a date. We were just meeting up.
And it was
colleagues.
like, well, you can come meet the babysitter and have a glass of water, or get a beer, whatever, sit around the table for a minute. And before you drive all the way down, you had like a 3-hour drive.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then just like the what cinched it for me was when I left, and I didn't know how to leave. I really, really, really needed to pee, but I didn't want to like use your bathroom,
Why didn't you want to use my
I don't know.
bathroom?
Well, it was just like, it was really, I ended up peeing in a bush, but, and everybody was really courteous. The boys were very well behaved and very courteous, and they showed me their trains, and then like we kind of did like the weird like, what do we hug, and then I got like we kind of like did a like hug, and then we left. And I just remember walking out of that house, and I just was completely devastated. Like I was just like completely devastated. I walked out, and I like had to pee, so I peed, and then like once that pressure was gone, like my heart just cried out for you. It was just there's this moment in Mad Men, I think it's the first season, when we're watching Mad Men. It's my favorite show. I've watched it like 8 or 9 times now. And I still get things out of it. But there's this moment where Don comes home to take his family, his wife and his children up to see their parents, and he wasn't going to do that. And his wife's like, oh yeah, I'm so glad you wanted to come, because he didn't want to come. And it's just, and then there's this like slamming of a door. And it turns out that that was a daydream of his.
Oh, yeah.
And he's just in this empty house.
Yeah.
Like when I left you, I just felt like I was just standing in this empty house. And I didn't know what to do with that information. It was really like, I'm like, crap. And then I started having feelings for you. I'm like, crap. I really don't want to have feelings. I don't want to have feelings, like, because they're like, you can't trust them.
So you did, but you didn't. You'd been seeking, but you were afraid of it.
What do you mean?
You just said you kind of had this openness. You wanted a connection.
Yeah.
But
Well, I didn't want the cocaine aspect of romance, that really like that high craziness. And I felt that coming over me, and I'm like, this is just, I'm not going to be able to make any real decisions, and I know I'm really vulnerable. Right now, so I could make wrong decisions. I want to see clearly.
so you didn't want to be hasty. So you didn't want to like rush into anything. Like ask somebody to marry you after.
Well, no, and then I went
month.
to Ireland, and we started
Yeah.
talking.
Yeah, you were at that Jen's.
And I met a lot of the women who were really important to me. I met a lot of the women who like I kind of like felt like close to.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting. Like it all happened. Like there's this weird thing, and I know that other guys have talked about this. Like when the world offers you a woman, it usually is like 3 or 4 women at the same time. Like you're given this choice, and it's kind of a test. Like, can you hear like which one is the right one? Can you like which And
That's
and
interesting.
And it wasn't exactly like women were. I'm not saying women were throwing themselves at me, but it was just like it was really like I was checking in. Like I had like this compatibility with this woman, but there's this thing, and then this compatibility with this woman, there's this thing, So I was looking at these different compatibilities, and I kept on thinking about you very strongly. And we hadn't started talking about it, but I was just like, I just couldn't stop thinking about you at all. And then we started talking.
If this video disappears from the internet, it's because I felt too vulnerable with all of this personal sharing.
Okay, well, we don't have to
No,
go
it's
there.
okay.
I know,
It's okay.
I'm
Well,
sorry.
we might as well. It's live stream. If I feel like that later, I'll.
I don't know why I want to talk about this on live stream, but I think I don't know. I think no, part of the project of this live stream is to document our relationship, and part of like I have a playlist called Women, and it's like 200 videos of just me speaking with women, and it was part of like the project is just to model being a man to a woman, like just model that. I don't see that. I see a lot of talking about gender and sex, and I see a lot of romance and fiction and stuff. But like, there's just this
The internet
missing
has a
aspect
weird way of representing it.
of like, there's this missing aspect of like, how do you relate to like, how does like a guy like, it's like learning how to pray. It's like you just kind of need to do it, or learning how to really talk to a woman and not flirt or hook up, but like really listen to her, because that's like most of the relationship is going to be in discourse, is going to be in like talking and exploring, asking questions, listening.
And how is it different than talking to men?
How is it different talking to men?
Than talking to men.
Yeah. Well, I don't even know. That question came out of nowhere. How would I even explain that? That's really a fascinating question.
Yeah,
Do you feel that difference?
I do, but I'm interested because if you're talking about like how does a man talk to women? How does a man relate to women?
Yeah.
Well, how does a man relate to men, and what distinguishes those two? And I know that we're talking in these broad,
Yeah, very broad,
generalizations.
streaky. Well, it
which
really
always
depends.
leaves
That's
lots
why
of-
there's 200 interviews. They're always different. It's always different, But there's always this. I mean, like there's a window where there's like the possibility of sex, right?
like the flirtation window.
Well, not just the flirtation, but like that charge is just there because of the biology, But like if you're talking to an older woman or a younger woman, it's not really there when you're talking to a woman that's compatible. So that really changes like how much control.
This is the age-old problem of can you have a platonic relationship?
Yeah, can you have a platonic
Yeah.
relationship with the opposite
Or
sex?
is somebody having some unexpressed feelings or some
Yeah.
unrequited feelings, or is there something lopsided
It's chemical.
or
I don't
unbalanced?
think you can get away from the fact that it is chemical, but you can respectfully talk about, like, you can have a dialogue about something else.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just that energy, and that energy can be fun, but it can be a threat. But that energy will always regulate the relationship. I think. But like if you're talking to an older woman or a woman out of your league, either below or above, like where that's just not going to happen, and it's not like a real threat or a charge at all, then there's still a different way of talking to women than there is to talk to men. But with men, it's really different.
Yeah, just totally different.
Do you have a idea?
Yeah, just looking at some of the comments. Rebecca says, I like the idea of modeling being a man talking with a woman. Yeah.
That's what I'm doing right now.
Oh, JM, this is really sweet though. A love story is a good timeline cleanser. That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
Okay. She's fine with that.
If later on I'm like, oh God, I can't believe we did that
Well, I'm doing most of the
conversation,"
talking.
I'll just ask you to take it down.
Okay, that's fine.
We
No,
can do
that's
it for a
totally
live
fine.
stream though.
Yeah.
That's fine. But yeah, I guess you were coming at this from the woman who was talking, who was making all those videos. That was painful, I think, for both of us to see. It was like this, like we're
Shadow.
very delicately trying to navigate something that we're both aware is really hasty.
Yeah.
We're both aware that something has kind of come over us in a way that we've made a decision. It felt like an assignment, like something that it just felt very natural and very obvious to both of us. Mm-hmm. But we were both aware of how
How's
kind
this
of
gonna look?
crazy this is too. Yeah. And to have this person calling it out, it was like that scene in The Princess Bride when she has that dream and the old lady is yelling at her. Do you remember that? She's walking down the
Shame or
yeah, it's
something?
like, boo, you are the queen of filth. She's like her darkness is being thrown at her in this form of this dream demon woman who's shouting it at her publicly.
Yeah.
And so that we kind of had a version of that with
Yeah.
this woman who was shouting the worst version of
Yeah.
what we were, like this
Traitor.
dark, deep, ugly version of
Yeah.
what our experience was in all of these videos. And we'd watch them, and I would be like, I actually felt a lot of compassion for her.
Yeah. Well,
I
yeah.
there were a couple of times where I got angry with her for things that she said, and it hurt my feelings. And then I tried mostly to partition myself. Like, this is about her. This is about the story in her mind. She doesn't know me. She doesn't know you. So it's not about us. But still, just having your name be thrown around
Yeah.
this way, and having somebody take a thing that's really precious in your life,
Yeah.
and then make like an inverted and hideous picture of that. It was kind of weird. It was also strange to go through that together while we're still in this delicate phase
Yeah.
of formation. And
Yeah.
then there's somebody like, we have a heckler. It's like we have somebody heckling us along the road.
You're doing it wrong.
You're doing it wrong.
You're doing it wrong.
And then when she'd get like 300 or 400 views, it's like, that's not that many views, but I'd be like, oh my God,
Oh,
300
yeah.
or 400 people
Yeah.
think I'm a terrible human being. And, probably more people than that think I'm terrible, because my whole school thinks that graduate program thinks I'm a white supremacist. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't care about that, but I cared about this.
Well,
it
in
was
this
a very
day and
weird
age,
thing.
there's worse things to be than a white supremacist. I'll tell you that much.
Well, because it doesn't mean anything.
Well,
Anyway.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
that's
yeah,
right.
for
Queen
that-
Ninja Kitty's got it. She knows what
Queen of
I'm talking
Refuse.
about. Yeah.
No, it was in, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to really talk about my previous relationship, but like she was bringing up a lot of stuff because there's little hints and stuff. And she projected this whole love story onto my life.
Yeah.
I didn't see the whole thing.
She didn't know
see
the
any
story
of it,
at all.
But she put a lot of
She
herself
put
into
it
that
in-
story.
yeah, she did.
And, and so what is that, that's obviously her stuff.
Yeah.
But she really did find that, like, the shame that I had. Like, I was unable to fulfill. There was a relationship, there was obligation there. And the only thing at the end of the relationship was just obligation. Mm-hmm. And there's friendship and memory. But it was just that obligation was the only thing keeping it a relationship. And that was what she was pointing at. Like the critic was just like, you broke your obligation, you broke your obligation, you broke your obligation. And I did. Because I did, and like I've been like over the past year and a half, I've been really sweating that out, in the middle of the night thoughts, like what did I do? Where am I? Like that's another thing, like how disorienting the whole thing was. All the change, the move, and then like getting to be a stepdad, and the stepdad, I worked in preschool, I worked with kids a lot, but a stepdad is like, you don't go home. You have to leave home to get some peace, right?
Yeah.
And that's been a total amazing experience, and going through the process of getting to know the boys and like outlining my authority and getting, you know, and then inserting myself in your relationship to them, you know, and understanding how you guys have all these dynamics and how some of the dynamics I'm going to upset or change, and trying to be really careful how I upset or change those things to make it balanced in a way that I think is fruitful for everybody's development, you know. And part of that is like understanding. This is why I did so much work on sex and gender, because like this is the foundation of humanity, of all culture, of all politics. It boils down to this dynamic, you know. What is it to be a father? What is it to be a son? What is it to be a mother? What is it to be a wife? Like these are, if you could just find out what those things are, then you learn something in life, you know, like really learn something in life. And so like, it was a great, you know, we jokingly call it like an assignment. It was like this, we were just kind of assigned to each other. Yeah. And like, so we had to give a lot of faith to enter into this and make it work. And I think it's working great. It's the best, but this summer has just been the best summer of my life. It's just been so wonderful. Hanging out with you guys. We were blessed to go on a few trips together, and it's just been really great. Challenging, inspiring, you know, and it's really reoriented what I'm supposed to do in the world. Like I really felt like my work kind of suffered in a way. I didn't know who to be outside. Oh, yeah. And I just kind of like really regressed from Benjamin A. Boyce YouTube sensation to just like Family Guy. Like, what is this, you know? And I feel like we're going through a change where like, okay, things are solid here. We figured it out. Now I can start to figure out what
focus outward again. Yeah.
So thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you very much.
You don't have to say anything.
Well,
that's fine.
There's a lot to say, but it's delicate.
Yeah.
It's delicate.
It's precious.
Yeah.
It's really precious. I would like to have conversations about this for young people, you know.
Yeah.
In time, you know.
Well, there's so many of the like gender and man-woman sex debates that play out online. And I think this is really fascinating to witness people having to renegotiate these really fundamental aspects of what it is to be a human being. And I wonder if we're always kind of engaged in some sort of a negotiation of that throughout our lives. I'm not convinced that it's just the modern era. I think maybe we're just seeing people's thoughts splayed out, and we get to debate them and have all these big arguments. So like Twitter, for instance, I've just called it war of the sexes. That's what it feels like. It's like the war of the sexes. Men do this, women do this, and it's all this stuff. And so many of those
it's really salient.
Those debates that happen there are relevant to our experience in so many very personal ways. Like anything from rather minor stuff like age difference debates. Yeah. Which is interesting because we're 10 days apart. Yeah. You're 10 days older than me.
Rocking the cradle of love over here.
Well, that's interesting too, because one of the things that was hard for me when we first started decided that we were assigned to each other was that I wished I could have a baby with you. I wished that you could have a baby, and I felt like you don't have any children. You've never been a father, and because of my age, I'm the same age as you. If you'd met somebody who was younger than you, that would be an open door for you still. But I'm not. That's not an open door for us. And so that was, and that was one of the most common comments that we would get. This nice comment that would just flow in. Oh, the babies are going to be beautiful. Yeah. You have babies. I hope you have a lot of babies. And, you know, it's like we're older than you think we are. You know, camera must distort some things or something, but we're not having any babies. I mean, you get to be a stepfather, and you're a wonderful father figure. But it was something that I felt like I have to grapple with the idea of limiting you in that way, limiting your your potential in that way, and so age difference comes into play there. But then age difference also. Having very little age difference means that there's this potential for a ton of relatability. Yeah. Because we have a lot of shared cultural experience and shared life trajectory sort of perspective. Yeah. And so that's very interesting. Yeah. And we've both dated people who were far outside of our age. Like you've dated someone who was a lot younger than you. Yeah. I've dated someone who was a lot older than me, and then across that gamut. And so there's as we've watched those debates happen, we've been able to like just really engage
relate
with them
to
and
it,
talk to each other about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just one of the simple ones. That's just one of the, but the body count thing too. Like I have, like this whole idea of purity. I have to think about, I've got children, for goodness sakes,
Yeah.
children.
Yeah.
I've been married, and there's this whole like purity, trad wife, what is it? The manosphere kind of thing. Like the woman, if she's already got kids.
Oh
Well,
yeah,
then
and then
she's-
you're
and the stepdad is basically a cuck.
cuck. Yeah, I'm a
and
cuck,
and then the
you're a-
woman is used up, and she's
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
no good, and so those are really interesting to watch, and those are these crude distillations of things that are much more complex.
Yeah, I think there was a moment that was, it was just a moment. It was a year ago where I was kind of like, it was at the end of the day, and I was really just like, I'm like, oh, this is just strung out, and I looked at one of the boys, and I'm like, this is some other guy's DNA. Like I felt that. I'm like I felt like
Like,
their
they're
dad's
not
body.
mine.
Yeah, they're not mine. This is not
Yeah.
mine, and I'm investing all
Yeah.
this into this.
You
thing.
had that
This is
reckoning.
not- and I had that, and I'm like, and I sat with it, and I let it go, and it's evaporated. It was just like, it was a
But
kind
it's
of
something you
intrusive
had
thing.
to
It's like, it was like,
confront.
this is true, like this is somebody else's, lineage, offspring and genetic
Yeah.
makeup and stuff. And there's an
Yeah.
aspect to it where.
Did you feel like you had to grieve that?
Well, no, I had to confront any possible resentment that I would have, because that doesn't belong with the boy. Putting that on the boy is wrong. But I have to confront the shadow, I guess, in a way, like just like recognize that this is a sacrifice that I'm doing, that I'm giving somebody else's lineage, my strength, my wisdom, my energy, my money. And that's just that's what I'm doing. And
Which
so
is
like
like
letting that go.
It's more of a process of mentorship or apprenticeship in some way, I guess.
I don't know.
Shepherding, it's not the same as with your own
I don't
flesh
know.
and blood, maybe.
I don't know. And I think that God is great, and that there is reality to the material and genetic and biological thing. Every once in a while we talk about like the lion with the cubs.
Yes,
and like
the new
like
lion
there's
comes
like
in.
new lion comes in and has to. What do you need?
I just need to put my leg down.
okay.
Thanks.
Yeah, but it was interesting, and that was just a spike, and there've been these moments of like really extreme tension between me and one of the boys, and it's just like, okay,
Yeah.
how do I go through? Like, how do I grow bigger than this? Like I was telling you, I think last night or the night before, it's like every time that there's a difficulty in life, God is bigger than all of us, and so God can do anything. And God can help you do anything. And if you're having a hard time, it's because you're being stretched in a way. So it's like, it's actually like, it's a prompt for you, like I said, like to pray about it, even though you can't change yourself right then, pray about it and ask for help or forgiveness or whatever, recognize that this is a difficulty, that I have a shortcoming, or else if somebody's annoying me, and I was in a high state, it would pass right through me, like a martial artist. Like it wouldn't touch me if I was in the right state. But it's my rigidity that is attracting and clinging to it, and then amplifying it. So if I can let it go, then the kid can let it go with stress, like with a child crying or a child being annoying in any way, like witnessing that and going through it and expressing your annoyance, because they need to understand that there's certain things
That there's
like,
limits and
there's
boundaries.
limits, and that people don't want them to act that way. It's really hard for them to be around you when they're like that. But first it has to come from love. Like the whole thing has to come from love. And we were fortunate to go on these adventures together, like really like go out, and travel and just really rely on each other and get into a rhythm and then build trust. And I felt like the boundary between me and the boys is just kind of faded. They're not my sons, but they are. Like they're becoming my stepsons in a way. Like I have this love for them that's independent of anything that I've felt towards a child before, or a young person before. It's like it's a very special thing, and they're becoming like my spiritual sons. So it feels more than just mentorship. I am doing a lot of mentoring and stuff, but like it's like there's this connection that's
something
growing,
more. Yeah.
and I think that is a part of the marriage. It's a part of our marriage is to love each other, and experience that life and that love. And go through all that process. There's a lot of process there, but like our marriage includes these two other children, and you're right. It's nice that I got them at just this right age before they become teenagers, so I can be involved with them as they go through all that tremendous amount of change. And I got a window into their childhood, so I'll be connected with them in a way that's prior to them being connected to their adulthood, which I think is important. But like our marriage includes all of that. And the love in this house includes all of that. And it's just possible. It's just great to be able to realize, to have the experience of the reality of family, because I hadn't had that in my life. I've looked for it, and my relationships have failed at generating that. And so I felt like that was not a reality for me. Anything that I could have for myself. And now that I have it, like I just wanted to proclaim it. That it is real, it is true, and it's possible. And there has to be a lot of different factors involved in that for it to be possible, but it is possible. Right?
And you went straight to being a grandpa too.
And a grandpa. Ben-pa. And you're Sproink. Ben-pa and Sproink.
No, you
out on the streets.
You came up with that last time. It's cute.
Anyways, did you have anything to say? This is a very deep personal conversation. I totally respect your position on this, and I do not want to put you at all in a position to,
No, I don't know. I guess.
But and we just extrapolating on that into themes that you dealt with in your relationship counseling stuff and in your own life. Like, what have you learned about what marriage is? I asked you earlier, what is marriage? Like, what are you learning about what marriage is? What does that mean to be married?
Oh gosh, is there a way to sum it up quickly on the spot? It's huge. I think I didn't realize how important marriage really is. I think that my parents were married until I was, I guess, 18. They divorced around the time I was 17 or 18 years old, I guess, just after I graduated from high school. And I gave up on my first marriage early. I had a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old. Maybe they were 3 and 5, maybe, when we split up. I had, there's ways you can look at something. You can look at it from different perspectives.
Yeah.
I could write the story for you that you would give me the you go girl, that I got from the world after I left that relationship.
Yeah.
He was not engaged. He was using drugs. He actually ended up, I didn't know he was on meth at the time. I mean, he was a good provider for us, but he was gone all the time. He actually said that he had night classes. He was working towards an electrical engineering degree. He stopped doing that like a year before I found out that he was no longer doing that. So he kept the schedule as if he was doing that, and I'd found marijuana and stuff like that. So, and that was illegal at the time in Texas. It wasn't like up here where it's open, and it was in his work pants and stuff. Like, you'd have that on your body. And so this irresponsibility and this disengagement with family and the lack of connection between the two of us broke my heart. And I was a young mom, and I really wanted him to invest in our family. I felt like I became a very young mom. I was pregnant at 18, had my first child at 19, and it grew me up really quick. I went from being kind of like irresponsible young person, not knowing what I was going to do next, to, oh crap, I need to get the posters off the walls, and the bong is not going to be in our house anymore, and we're going to clean this up, and we're going to, I'm going to have a play group, and I'm going to be Donna Reed and take care of my kids, and I'm learning to cook, and I'm going to make chicken pot pie, and I'm doing everything like really intentionally. It slapped me in the face and turned me into an adult, but it didn't do that to him. He just kept being the party boy that we were both fine with before we had kids. And so I tried my best to convince him to adopt a more adult lifestyle with me, and he refused, and I gave up, and I left. And I think looking back, there had been a moment when maybe there was possible change. I think me leaving and moving out might have been a wake-up call that could have prompted change, because there was a moment, and I'll never forget this evening. I think I had just moved to the condo that I'd moved into with my girls, and he came over and he cried and he said, "Please give me another chance. Please, I will go to counseling with you. I will change." And just this earnestness that he had, and he's young, and I mean, we were so young. He was less than 30 years old. Maybe he was 30. He's 5 years older than me. He's probably 30. And there was this desperate earnestness that he expressed to me in that moment. Mm-hmm. But my heart was cold already. I couldn't. It was like, that door is so closed. I can't. You hurt me too much. And I shut him out, and I shut him down, and I didn't. And I've always wondered, was there something pivotal there? What were those vows for that I said? Was that something where I owed that man and that relationship and my daughters that try, or did I not? And I went the path of I did not. I said, best predictor of future behavior is past behavior, and I am getting off of a sinking ship.
Yeah.
And it sure looks like that if you look at what has happened. This is getting really personal, but just like life going on, I can validate my narrative that I used to get out.
Yeah.
But I thought a lot about it over the years. Like, I spent a few years really feeling the you go girl. Like, I'm so powerful and grateful that I got out. I can do this on my own. I can be a single mom. I can take care of my kids. I don't need to be taken care of. I can do things in the world. I felt so glad to find my own agency and my own independence, and not to be clinging to somebody else and asking them to take care of me. So there was something about it that was really important for me to go through in my own life, I suppose. Mm-hmm. Or it had, I don't know. I don't know the answers to this, but several years later, I started to look back at that one moment and wonder about the pivot that happened then, and wonder about the value. And I, you see older people that are together and they've been married for 70 years, 60 years, whatever it is, like for their whole life, like really old people who have been together since they were young. Yeah. Your parents just celebrated their 50th.
Yeah. And
I think maybe I used to assume that they had just gotten lucky, but now I see that, and I wonder about all the hardships. I think about all the work and the perseverance and the dedication and the commitment that they went through to be able to be those two people in that relationship right now. And I see that, and I have a lot of reverence for it. And I also think that it's like getting to next levels. If you're always in the beginnings of relationships, then you're always renegotiating these things, these really like surface level aspects of how do you live with someone, like the things that we still do, because we've been married for almost a year, and we still have things. We've pretty much negotiated out a life where we move around each other really nicely. But you can feel it still happen sometimes, where it's like, oh, you do like this, and okay, like the sticky spots. But if you get to
you rearranged my coffee service. Yes, I had to yell about that.
And I see you put it back where you like it. But after 50 years, what does that look like?
Yeah.
I mean, does it look like synchronized swimming at that point? It's like you're at a whole nother level of being an organism with another organism.
Yeah.
Like you've really united in something. And we'll never get 50 years. I mean, it's highly unlikely.
Yeah, but do we need it?
I don't know. But, I guess it's just, I've learned to respect the idea of marriage, the vow, and the growth process.
Yeah.
That when you get married, you're not marrying a fixed thing. You're not marrying this exact, like I see the package, like the like you're young and hot and you better stay hot or whatever it
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
or you're you're not marrying either the fixed package or the potential. You're marrying someone who is moving through time. And you have to be able to move with them and they have to move with you, and you have to give each other this flexibility. And I think it's both a limitation and an expansion, because into that relationship you can expand endlessly, and through that relationship into the world you can have great expansion of yourself, of the relationship. But also it represents a package of limitations. And yes, the word that you used that I balked at a few months ago was sacrifice, but I see what you are saying about that. It's the limitation, it's the acceptance of limitation. Like, you no longer have access to all the other potential partners that you could have had. That's one sacrifice.
Yeah, that's one that's sacrifice.
And then there are many others.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, this thing again. Oh, we're having this argument again. We're here again? I thought we talked through this.
Yeah.
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 Well, God is good. Thank you for sharing
Yeah. Thank you.
your life with me.
Oh, and my story on YouTube.
And your story on YouTube, as far as that that it's been told. For me, it's kind of a new year. It's September is like when the year starts for me. I kind of
It's
I've
the
always
school
been
year?
on the school year thing, and so like my channel. I mean, this is on YouTube, on Twitter, but like on my podcast, I number all of my episodes, and I start a new season sometime in the fall. So it's kind of like a new season. It's a chance to like kind of like rethink things. It just makes sense at this time of the year to like think, okay, what's next?
Yet September.
I'm thinking that like you're always like, we're here. I'm like, well, yeah, but we're gonna be there. I'm getting ready
Yeah.
for it. So where do you see us headed? Where are you headed these coming months?
Work, more connection, more conversations.
Yeah.
I really love my work.
Your work is phenomenal. The work you do is
I
phenomenal.
really love it so much. It's such a blessing to be able to connect with people and to be alongside people
Yeah.
when they're going through working on their lives.
Coaching. You don't do coaching. You call
It's
it
whatever it is.
consulting.
Yeah, I don't know. I still don't like any of the words.
But I just want to let anybody tuning in to know that you are a counselor of
No,
some stripe.
well, yeah, you can't use the word counselor. 'cause
I
It
can.
means a thing.
I can use it all I want.
Yeah, okay.
You can't use it.
I can't.
Yeah.
No,
so you counsel.
I'm not a licensed counselor.
Yeah.
But yeah, that, and then the kids really want to go on another family vacation this winter.
Yeah, we want to
really
save
want
up.
to do that.
Go see if we can get back to the big island.
Yeah.
Maybe a different island.
Yeah.
We landed a sweet house sitting gig last year.
Yeah, we did.
It was really nice.
was so
we were
nice.
able to do this thing. It was so wonderful.
Oh, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was really good for all of us. And we
It's for
got
a
away
long
from the
time.
dark, dreary middle of the winter.
Yeah. We played with the slams.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about you? Next few months?
I really do. I am looking for a purpose. So I got a new job, and I got work that I need to be doing. So I need to hammer out a nice fall schedule to get some things done. But I'm looking for an idea. I did the gender thing. Mm-hmm. I keep on like keeping up with the DR thing, but I don't see a lot of energy in that too much. I mean, there's a lot of nice, interesting people there that I want to like catalog. I still want to catalog different groups, but I don't know like what's the theme. And the problem with election years is that everything's about the freaking election.
The election is just not very interesting to me. It feels like it's a bunch of
It just sucks so much
manipulation.
air out of the room, man.
Yeah, it's a bunch of manipulation and smoke and mirrors.
And it's kind of fun. I mean, like the president almost got shot or did get shot. That's kind of awesome. Like there's history being made, but like it's just
That's
like
fun. You said that's fun.
no, that's phenomenal. That's freaking phenomenal.
That he
stuff.
was almost shot, or that he was shot.
Like his reaction to that,
Oh,
like
okay.
that was 6 weeks ago. I'm
Okay.
still stunned. I go back and I
yeah.
watch that video. It's completely memory hold, and I'm
Yeah,
like really
that's
real.
crazy.
I'm concerned right now that things happen and then they hadn't happened, everything happens and then it's like it didn't happen anymore.
Yeah.
It's like it's perfectly like the Baudelaire is like the Iraq War didn't really happen. Like there's this French theorist Baudelaire who's like a postmodernist, and he's just talking about this postmodern condition where it's like these things that happened didn't actually happen. There's this guy who lit himself on fire for Israel or Palestine, and everybody forgot about it in 2 days. Like everybody just forgot. Like he literally.
Maybe it's because maybe it's something about the internet. Maybe if we slow down and kind of reclaim real life and stop relying on internet, because there's always a flow. It's like it's like life in fast forward.
You're right, but it is what it is. It is what it is. So like, yeah, you're right. Go touch grass, slow down. But it is what it is. Like
But just because a bunch of other people aren't talking about it anymore doesn't mean it didn't happen. And so if we rely on other people to reflect reality back to us, then we're in a frustrating state.
I think no, you're right. But that's what we are. There's no like stable narratives anymore. Even the people who shape the narratives.
Then why don't we create them for ourselves? I mean, that's
what we're doing with our channel. But I'm saying outside of our channel, outside of my life, like I'm trying to deal with the audience. I'm trying to deal with the world as it is.
Yeah.
And I understand your critique. I totally agree with your critique of it, but it is what it is, and I need to deal with it somehow.
Okay.
I need to figure out how to use it to find the next thing and to craft the next thing, and then let the really great production value guys come in and do all my work all over again and get all the freaking views. I'm fine with that. Perfectly fine. Anyways, so I'm trying to, I need to know what's next.
Yeah.
I'm looking for that.
Did he get the name? Rib Rascal.
Baudelaire.
There we go.
There we go. It's on the screen now. Anyways,
Whoa.
Thank you very much for our show. Did we have any comments that we wanted to go through?
I don't know. Let's see. No,
that's fine.
There's just a bunch of nice comments in here.
I hope you guys are having a really good Sunday. Really appreciate everybody tuning in. I hope you guys are appreciating your loved ones in your life. Do you have anything that you wanted to talk about that is a favorite recipe of yours?
Oh, I made that potato recipe you liked. The potatoes?
What was it? Yeah.
They were, I think they're called Hasselback potatoes. Mm-hmm. Is that the right word? They are, so it was like a Parmesan potato thing. Hasselback potatoes, you kind of cut them like an accordion, so the bottom is still attached and they fan out.
Yeah, so you cut them in half first.
You cut them in half, like long ways.
Yeah.
And then you lay them between two chopsticks or two wooden skewers. Mm-hmm. And then you slice so that the knife doesn't go all the way through the very bottom, but it goes almost to it.
Yeah.
And then you spread butter and sprinkle Parmesan on a pan.
Yeah.
And a sheet pan. And then lay the potatoes cut side down on that pan. And then smear butter on top of them. And put salt and pepper. I used red pepper flakes too. And garlic powder. You could use crushed garlic would be better, but we were out of garlic. And more Parmesan, and then put them in the oven.
It was really good.
And I baked them at 350 for I don't know how long, 45 minutes, maybe an hour. I don't know. Just checked them a few times. When they were starting to get nice and golden brown on the bottom, I flipped them over and cooked them for a little bit longer to just crisp up the top just a little bit.
They were
so good. Super good.
I just
made some aioli to dip them in.
Yeah. I interviewed Bo, not Weingard, man, Bo Dade from Lotus Eaters, our history bro. We talked about Ulysses S. Grant. It was like a 2-hour long.
Yeah, I'm really interested in that.
It'll be up in a couple of days.
Yeah.
Great conversation. But I was so famished at the end of it. I came out here, and like after I do an interview, I'm like, just don't talk to me. Like I need to know what I am.
You need to space out for a bit.
Yeah, I need to just like kind of come back to myself. But I just like, those were so good.
Yeah.
They were so good.
They were yummy.
Yeah. So so we talked about cooking. I'm going to talk about, there's this game called Hive. And it's some sort, I don't even know how it's played yet. I found a 3D printer version. One of the boys from the Grandpa got a 3D printer the boy's grandfather sent us a 3D printer, so we've been playing around with 3D prints. And so I printed up these little hexes, and there are a bunch of bugs, and each bug has a different move. So I'm going to teach
Like
Leslie.
chess?
It's like a chess or kind of a checker thing. Yeah, it's like chess, I guess. So each bug has a different move. There's spiders, there's bees. I think the object of the game is to surround your opponent's queen bee.
Do you have 2 colors of these?
Yeah, I'm printing. I'm printing the
Opposite
inverse.
color?
I'm
Okay.
printing the black on gray, and then that'll how it be. So I have to get the thing.
That's
So
cool.
we're gonna play that tonight and see if we can get it, because apparently it's a really good little game. So
Sounds like fun. I like to feel them. I've
So
been
if-
sitting here playing with
yeah, if you guys have been hearing this little clacky thing all episodes, because we've been fidgeting. Fidgeting, yeah. So, find Leslie at the Radical Center on YouTube and also on Spotify. I'll go through and I'll link her links in the description. We're both on X, though she loathes it, and I think it's mighty fine, but it's a total mess.
Yeah.
I'm at Benjamin A. Boyce. She's at J. Leslie Elliott.
We had a great conversation last Monday. We do a live stream every Monday
yeah.
for Solid Ground.
With your ladies.
Yep. And we had a great conversation with Dr. Chloe Carmichael about abortion, politics and morality of abortion. We really went deep into it. It was a topic that I wasn't sure how to. It's one that deserves depth and a lot of time, and we really got into a great conversation about it. So that was a good one. And then we have Jennifer Law joining us tomorrow.
Fun.
For Monday's live stream.
She's a
tomorrow, 10
firecracker.
a.m. Pacific.
She's a fun woman.
Yeah, and Jenny Holland has been guest hosting with us for several weeks now. She's fantastic.
Yeah.
She's a great writer, and you've interviewed her.
Yeah.
She's really great.
She's out in Ireland.
So along with Jennifer Friend and Deborah Knox and myself.
Yeah, so check it out. I'll link that in the description as well. You guys have a good evening. We're going to go eat dinner. Play with bugs.
Both of those at the same time.
Yeah, both at the same time.
All
You
right,
guys-
bye everybody.
Ciao.